Hey everyone, it's Nguyen, Taste, and we're here in collaboration with Thời Media. We've got a special guest. We've got Franco Nguyen here with us. We're super excited to get to know him a little bit better, and we just finished watching his show earlier this week, Good Morning Vietnam, and it was spectacular. So Franco, if you could give us a little bit of some backstory, how did you get started in comedy?
I was always into comedy. In high school, I was in like an improv club. That was like a renegade improv club. We just like made up our own rules. And then in film school, I was making a film and I needed Asian actors for the film. And while I was posting my casting notice on Mandy.com, I noticed there was a audition for this troupe called Asian Exploitation, where I met the director and the dramaturge of this current show, Daryl and Byron. And I was part of Asian Exploitation for a little bit, but we only did like one show a year. And then I started doing stand-up about 7 years ago. Wow. And I would just do different bars and clubs, and like it was mainly bars and really weird bad shows.
How did you know that you were funny? Like, you know what I mean? Like, were you like the class clown in school, or like?
Yeah, I don't know if, I guess I was a class clown. Like my first big laugh was in grade 5. And
Whoa.
They were doing a bicycle safety thing, and the guests were teaching us about bike safety, and they're like, oh, every time you're on a bike, you have to stop. Even if there's a stop sign and you're on a bike, you have to stop. And then I just shouted out from the back. I was like, even if you're on training wheels? And everyone was like, oh my gosh, this guy's the greatest thing of all time. And everyone was laughing so hard. And it was like a drug. So yeah, and I think it's just also being like a bit of an outsider. You always have to have like a bit of a defense mechanism. So I was like always was aware of myself, and then I was like, oh, if this person's gonna make fun of me for this, I'll make fun of them for that.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like a defensive thing. Yeah. But I think that first big laugh in grade 5, that's when I was like, man, this feels really good.
Yeah, I actually remember that training course.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I actually legit remember that. Being an Asian American, there's a lot of different difficulties that we may face, especially in this industry. What would you say are some of your biggest obstacles during your journey?
Well, I always see myself more as an Asian Canadian. And what are my obstacles in this journey? It's interesting because there's like, when you do stand-up, it's different, and when you do different forms of comedy, it's different. So if I do a showcase show, and I'm like the only Asian person on the show, and it's like all white dudes, then when I come up, you can feel the energy of the room change, because it's we live in a dominant white society, so certain ideas are very internalized. So even if the audience is very progressive and they'll feel like, oh, okay, there's something different. So you have to recognize that there's this thing, you don't want anything to get past. It was actually a little bit more challenging, and then I think by like my 3rd year in stand-up, I was just connecting with more people because I was really good friends with my best friend now, Guled Abdi, in comedy. Everyone is a huge fan of him, and I think because I was always around Guled, people started putting me on their shows. Because I mean, you want your story to connect with everyone.
Yeah. It's like trying to be inclusive, but like not super offensive in a way.
And it's also like being, it's kind of weird because like we do live in a world where people are very apologetic for racism.
Yeah.
But it's like the reality is like, my instinct is to be empathetic. So I always am hopeful in that, like I can deliver my point of view onto you.
And on the Tuesday show, it was a sold out performance, and I was sitting in the audience, and the audience was so diverse. Like there were so many age groups, different ethnicities, cultures. Like it was everyone was laughing. Like it was amazing. So that just made me so proud and just so happy for you.
Yeah, because like the first time I did it, I was like inviting all my friends, and then like it was like news for a lot of my friends. Like, whoa, I didn't even know any of that stuff about you. It's like, I've never even been to your house. Like, that's a different reason. So I think it was, I was just showing this new show. It's like introducing a part of yourself that you don't really talk about. And I think a lot of my theory is that me and all my friends, all my Asian friends, we don't talk about our parents at all. And I think it's just because if all of us start talking about it, people are going to start weeping. It's like, yeah, my dad used to play football or whatever. And then, like, I imagine my conversations with my other Asian friends, like, my friend would be like, yeah, man, my dad used to play soccer until the war happened. And then he left Vietnam, and they sacrificed so much. And I'm like, and then we're like, oh, we're trying to play PS4 right now. Because culturally, there's familial piety is so deeply rooted in Asian culture, and that sense of like, oh, am I doing enough? I want to make everyone proud. And then you grow up and people are like, there would be times where I was like eating at Duffer Mall and I was eating too fast and my mom would be like, oh, people are gonna laugh at you. I'm like, but this is so good.
This is such a Vietnam thing. Such a Vietnam.
My mom has always she's never been someone that was like, oh, go be a doctor or anything like that, because I'm like the first person in my lineage to go to university. So like my mom's from like the farm area, you know, so for her dream for me was to just work indoors.
It was very meaningful for your own family, but I think you've touched so many other people and their families, and just kind of like understanding the sacrifices and seeing you use this platform. Like at least my takeaway was like, after the show I called home, like, Mom, I just watched this show, it was so good. Reminded me of you, I just wanted to call you, right? So I think it gave a spark of joy for everyone in the audience. So like, what was like kind of like a big takeaway you took from Vietnam? Because it must have been a culture shock.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge culture shock. Because when you arrive to the airport, and there's just all these families, and people like seeing their family for the first time, so it's very intense. I think there's like poverty there, and you can describe it, and you can say the words, and you can be very articulate about it, but I think there's a vividness and there's a texture to it that you don't really, you're not prepared for. And I think even when I went, I was holding the camera a lot of the time, so I was kind of hiding. I was kind of in my own reality that was outside of the reality that was taking place, because I'm holding on a kind of like a digital mask in a way, right? And then I think at one point I put the camera away, and then I just put it down, and I was just walking, and I just started bawling. Couldn't, because I think there's just this ignorance that I had, you know, and when I was like, oh my gosh, like this whole thing all this time, and I just started having flashbacks of all the times when I was like, you know, kind of selfish as a kid. I want children to grow up feeling like, okay, you can just exist, you know? And I think that's kind of the result of war and displacement, and there's a lot of traumas and ramifications that occur.
A takeaway that we also discovered like during the show is like the direction, like I guess you and Byron collaborating and his vision and bringing yours to light as well. Like all the props were very interesting. It was like kind of like inception of like the TV, and then like I don't know, your usage of the stage was very like illustrative, and like maybe it's your theater background, but like how, like what was the thought process in coming up with not only the script but like the actual like stage production and usage of the props?
Theatrical training is through improv at Second City, and we don't use any props.
So
it's always like, oh, I'm drinking something. Like there's no props at all. First, when you walk into the thing, the frame is crooked, and there's so it's like this idea that throughout the show things are moving, and the rug is kind of like, it's a rug, but it's also like this dream space, and we have it's like memory and nostalgia, and so it's not really a place per se. So as we go through, we use it as a prop and we flip it.
With the success of Good Morning Vietnam, you're continuing your tour in Victoria, BC, as well as Mississauga, Ontario. Good Morning Vietnam was such a big success in the 2017 Fringe event. So, like, how are you balancing everything? What keeps you motivated? How are you continuing like this spiral of just a lot of good things happening in your life?
Yeah, I guess the thing, because when you first start stand-up, you bomb a lot and you do a lot of bad shows. And like, I used to do a lot of shows where it was like literally, I would wait till like, I would show up at like 8 p.m., 8:30, and then I would wait, and then I wait, and then my turn to go up was like around like 1:30 in the morning, and then it's like one other person there, and it's just like, okay, it's me and you, and the guy's like, I'm gonna leave, and I'm like, oh, I'm talking to nobody now. And when you do shows where it's like a big house, it's like a dopamine hit, like you just kind of like explode with excitement, and the audience can sense that you're happy that they're there because you're so used to performing to nobody. And then when you perform to everyone, it's like the performance is more alive, and it's more gracious. So I think the thing that keeps me motivated is that I know what it's like to not have work, and so it's like it feels like a miracle to get any work. And so you're like, okay, well, here I gotta just keep grinding, because like you just have these flashbacks of waiting. It's like the blue night from Broadview, and it's just like, ugh, like what am I doing?
Like, just to kind of end it off, like what's the future of Franco Nguyen looking like? Any future projects? Anything in the works that you're currently experimenting, or give us some insight? Yeah,
me and my sketch troupe were working a lot together, and we were developing some stuff for TV.
Whoa!
But we don't know what's gonna happen with it.
Thank you for taking your time to do this interview with us. I just have a really fun little segment at the end, just because Jennifer and I run like a food blog called Nguyen Taste. So I just want to ask some fun foodie related questions. So the first one, it's either like this or that.
Okay.
So the first one is Vietnamese iced coffee or chia ba mo?
Chia ba mo.
Really? Oh, okay.
That's the thing. That's my impression. Me and my girlfriend, we have this impression. Every time we have that, we always do an impression of like what an older dad or uncle would look like, and it's always like this, and you're crossing, and you just go.
That's so. That's our dad. Yeah. And then
we're always like na 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 na.
Oh my! Should both you guys doing that at the same time?
The leg is super high up. The leg is super high up.
Next one, Vietnamese pho or bún bò Huế?
Yeah, right? Okay.
When your parents, I need to ask other people.
Yeah.
When your parents kiss you, do they go like this, or do they smell you?
I think it's the small one.
Yeah, they smell it. Like, isn't that? I was like, Vietnamese, and she's like,
yeah.
I'm trying to get my information. What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I thought it was just our family.
Yeah, I thought it was our family too. Yeah.
It's just like everyone. It's like, what is?
Next one, durian or jackfruit?
Durian.
What? Oh.
Oh yeah, for sure. I didn't know there's a.
I can't stand the smell of that. I know it's a delicacy though. It is.
I think it's just like a condition. Like I never even thought it smelled bad.
It's banned in some countries.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
What countries?
Last one, Vietnamese sub or Subway?
Oh yeah, I would get a banh mi.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Sure, yeah, I think that's easy.
Okay, you're like 100% Vietnam.
Yeah, you're
totally
Viet.
Yeah. I always ask for put a lot of pho on it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then the other thing is like, my girlfriend's aunt does it in Vietnam. Sometimes we'll just go and we'll say, oh, can we like no meat or anything? It's just like like just pho and pate, and then just
the bread. Yeah.
And then nothing else. And then one time we got it and it was like loaded and it was like this much pho
oh my
on
god.
it. And then we were riding and we were going to the Sony Center, and then the sandwich fell off of the bike, and then so she was biking ahead, and then it fell off her bike, and I ran over it, and then we're like, we're still gonna eat this, right? And she's like, yeah, and then we're like, no.
Awesome.
It was so good. Yeah.
I think that's a wrap for us. Thank you so much again, Franco, for your time today. We had a lot of fun getting to know you and the backstory. I really hope that everyone checks out Franco's shows. Honestly, it's an emotional, hilarious roller coaster. That's how I'm going to describe it. Yeah. It's heartfelt, and even if you're not Vietnamese, no matter what your age or ethnicity is, it's very relatable. It hits close to home, given that we live in such a diverse community. So please check out Franco's social media.
And you can check out Tall Boys, and then once I'm done the show, I'm doing improv every Friday at the Bad Dog Theater with Jocelyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay, thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye.